The Druid is finally here. Path of Exile 2's The Last of the Druids expansion marks the game's third major update since launch earlier this year. While it brings a substantial list of changes, it stops short of the long-anticipated endgame overhaul many players were expecting. Those larger systemic updates are now planned for 2026 with Path of Exile 2's 0.5 League. Until then, here are the biggest additions and changes introduced in the 0.4 update. As promised, the Druid has arrived. This long-awaited class introduces shapeshifting into several animal forms and comes packed with new passive tree nodes, skill gems, support gems, and more. Druids can transform into a bear, a wolf, and even a wyvern, each offering a distinct playstyle. Bear form emphasizes heavy, impactful attacks with massive area effect damage, letting players stomp through monster packs. Wolf form trades raw power for speed, allowing for quick, nimble strikes and rapid movement between enemies. The wyvern leans fully into fantasy, enabling players to devour enemies to gain power charges and breathe fire while hovering above the battlefield. The Druid also launches with two Ascendancy classes, Shaman and Oracle. Shaman focuses on rage, amplifying melee and slam attacks to deliver devastating damage. Oracle, on the other hand, specializes in Foresight, a mechanic that reveals a future skill you'll use. Casting the skill grants a significant power boost, rewarding players who adapt to their rotations on the fly. Added late in development, the Disciple of Varashta is a brand new Ascendancy class for the Sorceress. This is a pseudo-summoner playstyle centered around commanding 3 different types of Jinn. Unlike traditional minions, these Jinn are not summoned via spirit-based skills and are instead unlocked through Ascendancy passives, with further customization through support gems. The Jinn behave differently from standard minions in Path of Exile 2. They do not attack automatically and are not constantly present on the battlefield. Instead, they reside within their barrias, orbiting the player until explicitly commanded to fight, offering a more deliberate and tactical take on summoner gameplay. The Last of the Druids also introduces a new league mechanic, the Vaal Ruins. In the overworld, players will encounter corrupted structures surrounded by monsters. Defeating these enemies begins the process of unlocking an underground temple once ruled by the Vaal Queen Adziri. Interacting with a central console opens a UI that allows players to build and customize the temple layout themselves. The goal is to reach the Queen's Chamber at the far end of the temple while strategically placing rooms along the way to increase rewards. Players can lay down tiles representing different rooms, creating paths to currency rewards, crafting benches, boss encounters, and more, all while empowering rooms to maximize loot. As we mentioned at the top, this update doesn't deliver the long-promised endgame overhaul, but The Last of the Druids still brings meaningful gameplay adjustments. The Abyss League mechanic, introduced in 0.3, has now gone core. Abysses will appear randomly throughout campaign zones and in-game maps rather than in every area. Players can invest Atlas passive points to enhance Abyss encounters, as well as use tablets to guarantee their appearance and add reward modifiers. Tablets themselves have also been reworked to reduce some of the more tedious aspects of map crafting. Instead of modifying waystones with instilling orbs or abyss bones, players can now upgrade tablets to rare quality for additional affixes after defeating the Arbiter of Ash in the Burning Monolith. To compensate for the loss of certain crafting options, the pool of possible tablet modifiers has been significantly expanded. Tablets can now also be corrupted for unpredictable results, though this requires a new currency called the Ancient Infuser, as Vaal orbs no longer apply. Monster density in in-game maps has also been addressed, following player feedback. To reduce overwhelming encounters and frequent deaths, monster pack sizes across maps have been reduced by 40%. To balance this change, monsters now drop 40% more loot and grant 40% more experience. These bonuses do not apply to bosses. And these are just the biggest changes introduced in Path of Exile 2's The Last of the Druids expansion. Grinding Gear Games is continuing work on the major in-game overhaul, and we'll be covering those updates as they arrive. Thanks for watching, and for more on all things ARPG, stay tuned to IGN.